Today I'm putting every rookie on the same team, and this video cannot end until they win a World Series. Our roster is full of first and second round picks from this year's MLB draft, and I put them all on a custom team called, of course, the Colorado Rockies. We're gonna see how long it takes this team to win a World Series without adding any new players to the squad, and just a warning, it might take a few years as our highest rated player is 68 overall. That is 68 overall Cade Anderson, who will start out as our ace, but I'm eventually expecting Seth Hernandez to overtake him as he has A potential. Hernandez is one of 5 A potential players on the roster, with the other 4 being prep shortstops, but since they're all very young, I'm starting them down in the minors to give them more time to develop. In season number 1, our entire starting lineup is full of college hitters as we wait for the high school guys to develop, and while I'm not expecting much, I am excited to see players like Ike Irish and Iva Arquette. There's also 3 lefties in the rotation, which at the very least is gonna be fun to watch. It is opening day for our full team of draft picks, and I'm very interested who performs as Arquette gets our first hit. He went number 7 overall to the Marlins, and now he is stealing second base, so now we have a better chance to score, but we fly out to right field. Now it's time for Cade Anderson to cook, and Chandler Simpson sends his first pitch into center field, where a very late reaction lets that drop. This team is already showing inexperience, and now we're in trouble with runners at the corners for Junior Caminero, who launches a double into the gap. That makes this game 2-0, but there's a nice strikeout, and considering all of these players skip the minors, I'm not expecting much. Anderson would give up 4 more runs, making it 6-0, but now with 2 aboard, we are trying to score our first run, but that is a double play. This team has so much work to do to be anywhere close to pro ready, but this is the best contact we've seen all game, so we're definitely seeing flashes, but not the results on opening day. We are down to our final out, and with 2 on, we cannot score a run, so the rookies get shut out on opening day, and I'm a little less confident about them winning a World Series. After that first game, I am so glad that we have Ethan Holiday and other prep players in AAA because their development is really gonna matter, and hopefully a 40.5 ERA does not destroy Cade Anderson's career. No surprise, this team has not won a game through 2 series, but there might be a chance to change that against the Athletics. The rookies are only trailing by 1 run in the 7th inning, but here is a double, so it is now or never as Luke Stevenson gets a hold of one, and the Seattle Mariners' second draft pick goes deep. He is having a much better start to the year than Cade Anderson, but of course, we still need to close them out, and that is easier said than done. Our very suspect pitching could cost us our first game of the season as they lay down a bunt and win the race to first. There are 2 aboard for Jacob Wilson, and fortunately, he grounds out, so we still have the lead in the 8th inning and are looking for another run to extend it. There are 2 outs with a man on second base, but unfortunately, we get unlucky. Our current closer is Seth Hernandez, who is 65 overall and has the highest ceiling of anybody else on the roster, and I wanted to start him in the minors, but our roster does not have enough pitchers. However, it might be for the best as he gets the job done as our closer, giving the rookies their first win ever. A month into the year, the rookies have won 3 games, which is certainly not ideal, but it feels like they are slowly improving and should continue to develop. So far, this has been our most impressive offensive performance as we tie the game, at least until James Wood goes deep. We came back from 3 runs down, and our inconsistent pitching let us down, but there's still hope for a win. The bases are loaded with 1 out in the 9th inning as Ike Irish sneaks us up the middle to score the tying and the walk-off run. That is the first signature victory in these young rookies' careers, and to my surprise, they are 10-20 at the start of May. Overall, the offense has not been very good to start the year, but it seems they're starting to turn things around, and their best player, Jace Laviolette, is a huge reason for that. The Guardians prospect is 62 overall, but he's leading our team with 6 home runs, along with an 826 OPS. I'm glad he's off to a good start for us, but looking at the rest of our team, we could definitely use some more production, as there is only 1 other player on the team with an OPS above 700. That is center fielder Brendan Summerhill, who at least has been playing okay, and aside from him, we've seen flashes from Iva Arquette and Ike Irish, but nothing consistent. Then in the rotation, maybe the Angels were onto something, taking Tyler Bremner at number 2 overall, as it was certainly a shocker on draft night, but so far he's putting up electric numbers. That is especially true compared to Cade Anderson, who I'm really hoping gets better, because he simply has not recovered from opening day. My only goal this season is to develop the current roster as much as we possibly can, because we are not ready to compete right now, but I see potential down the road, although we give up a 3-run shot. That is unfortunate, as we had just just taken the lead against Philadelphia, and one of our most promising bats, Ike Irish, had a 3-hit game. That started a very rough losing skid for the rookies, who are struggling at the end of May, ending the month with a 16-42 record. The good news is it seems our team is improving, as Cade Anderson is up to 70 overall, and other important players like Ethan Holiday and Eli Willits are slowly developing at AAA. That being said though, we are still pretty bad, so we are simulating to the All-Star break, where it seems our record is just as bad as it was before. The rookies would finish the year 42-120, which was 60 games behind the Dodgers, who were in first place. However, while we didn't win many games, all of our players grew anywhere from 4 to 6 overall, which at least in my mind made this season a success. We will definitely be seeing Ethan Holiday and Eli Willits at the show next year, so hopefully that alone is enough improvement for us to really start making some noise. Willits and Holiday will be batting number 1 and 2 in the lineup entering the second season, and they are joining Ike Irish and Jace Laviolette for what is hopefully a good top of the order. Then in the rotation, Cade Anderson is still our ace, but we're also adding Seth Hernandez, and I'm very excited to see what he can do after a solid year as our closer. Opening day is against the Cardinals, as Eli Willits' first at bat goes to right field, and I'm expecting another slow start from the offense, but at least early on, Cade Anderson is going to work. He struck out the side, and hopefully that's a sign of good things to come, and there's no surprise that Cade Laviolette was our first single of the year, as Ethan Holiday also gets on base. They're two of the better power hitters on this team, and they could help us score the first run of this game as Andrew Fisher hits this deep enough for a sac fly. This is already very different from last year's opening day, where we got shut out 10-0, but only coming away with 1 run with the bases loaded is not ideal. Fortunately though, Cade Anderson is doing his thing, striking out 5 batters in 2 innings. He could be the reason we win this game, as our offense has not gotten on base since the 2nd inning, but here's a double. Now it's up to Andrew Fisher, who already has an RBI but can't drive in another, so we are still relying on Cade Anderson to carry the team on his back. I never expected our pitching to be ahead of our offense this early on, but this is launched into the left center gap, and what a catch! That was Slater DeBrun making the play of his career, and he keeps Anderson's shutout going a bit longer, also hitting a single. That brings up Eli Willits, who still has not gotten his first major league hit, which will not change, so it's still 1-0, and Anderson is out of the game. It would be great to add an insurance run, but that's easier said than done, as ever since the 2nd inning, our offense has been useless, and you've gotta be kidding me. We just deflected it off of the pitcher's kneecap, and not only is he okay, but they caught it, and I think that's the perfect way to sum up how this game has gone. Fortunately for us though, our pitching held it down, earning us the shutout and winning us the game on opening day. Cade Anderson went 5 innings, collecting 7 strikeouts, and while it was a disappointing game for the offense, Ethan Holiday had a good debut, collecting 2 hits. Now I'm curious if we can win this 2-game series as we lose, and honestly that is not a surprise as we move on to a series against the Nationals where we are trailing by 1 run in the first game. However, we advanced the tying run to third base, and Willits drives him in, and that is an encouraging sign for the rookie, who has gotten off to a bit of a slow start. That is one of the biggest plays of his career so far, as we get 2 aboard, and Irish has a chance to give us the lead, but he swings a little bit too early. We are locked into another close game, and with the way both offenses are playing, we could be going to extras, as aside from that blooper, we have not done anything. Fortunately, we will get a chance to walk this off, as this goes off their pitcher for a base hit, so we get the winning run on base, and Ethan Holiday makes it a little more interesting. We could be 1 single away from winning this game, but that's a bad decision, and we're going to extras. It was not a good decision to swing at that pitch, but we're gonna get lucky, as the Nationals fail to score, and Gavin Fiend calls game. That is a signature win for the rookies, as they start the series strong against Washington, and this was a great all-around game for their offense, but most notably Ike Irish and Iva Arquette. After the first month of the year, we are 11-20, which is actually very similar to where we were last year, but this time around our offense is playing much better, as we have 4 guys with 10 RBIs or more. It has been another good start to the year for guys like Brendan Summerhill and Iva Arquette, while it feels like Eli Willits is developing into a star right in front of our eyes. It's also been a better season for the rotation, as Cade Anderson's numbers are definitely a step above where they were this time last year, and early on he is getting some nice development. The rookies have definitely improved this season, but we still need to take another step forward, as our biggest goal is to win more games than we won last year. We are leading 2-1 against the Giants, where Seth Hernandez is pitching a gem, and him developing into an ace is key for our future success. Hernandez did his job on the mound, and despite a lack of offense, offense, we close out the Giants, starting out the series with a win before losing the second and winning the third game. That gives us a series victory as Kate Anderson went for 5 innings, giving up 2 runs. So even though we're still very raw, several players are showing that they're already major league caliber players. We're trying to keep this momentum going, leading by 1 run against the Angels, but as we've seen all year long, we are struggling to get on base. Regardless, we're still making good contact, so I can't complain. On top of that, our bullpen has been very good, but Gage Wood gives up the go-ahead home run, so unfortunately, we blow the save and lose the game. Despite their improvements, the rookies are just too raw right now to be competitive, as their record right now is better, but still the worst in MLB. It's worth noting that our team is still developing nicely, so I do have high hopes for the future, even though the numbers are not looking great right now. Despite our struggles, it has still been a good year for Andrew Fisher, Iva Arquette, and Ike Irish, who coming out of the draft were some of the most pro-ready college hitters. Obviously on the mound, no one is putting up anything close to Cy Young level numbers, but honestly at the stage that we're at, they don't really need to. At least for this season, as long as I'm seeing green on the screen, I really don't care what these players do. We're simulating the rest of the season looking towards the future, as we finished 47-15, which was 5 wins better than last year. Additionally, we get 2 players up to 76 overall in Seth Hernandez and Kate Anderson, and while they both had pretty good years, I think Hernandez has officially overtaken him. However, the most exciting player this year was Andrew Fisher, who hit 23 home runs and 73 RBIs, and he was the only guy on the team who broke 700 OPS. As a result, his stats got massive increases, so it feels like he's established himself as a core player. We are entering Season 3 with a new ace in Seth Hernandez, along with a very improved rotation, but I'm also hoping this is a breakout year for our offense, as every player in the lineup is above 70 overall. This video is sponsored by Built Rewards, and if you're a renter, you need to know about this. Built is a loyalty program that allows you to earn points on your rent no matter where you live, and redeem those points toward traveling, shopping, and even future rent payments. It's free to join, and getting started takes less than a minute. We can earn points on nearly anything these days, but rent has always been left out, even though it's personally my biggest monthly expense. However, by paying your rent through Built, you can start earning points on your rent and everyday purchases, but unlike most rewards points, Built points are extremely valuable. You can redeem points at over 500 airlines and 700,000 properties around the world, or you can redeem them towards classes or curated experiences. Publications like Bankrate have ranked Built points as the highest value point currency available, so if you're already paying monthly rent, why not get more out of it? Start earning points today by signing up using the link in my description or by clicking the QR code on the screen. Join Built Rewards and make your rent payments worth more. Expectations are higher going into Season 3, and I'm really hoping the rookies can break 500 for the first time. Ethan Holiday started us off with a single, but now the bases are loaded, so we can take the early lead against a good Philadelphia team, but that goes right back to Sanchez. Now it's time to see our new ace, Seth Hernandez, but that is a solo home run, so after a promising inning, we are trailing, but here's a dinger from Ethan Holiday. That is a no-doubt shot from our second-year player, and we are really counting on the young infielder to get us some more wins. In the bottom of the 4th, we are still leading by 1 run, at least until Holiday drives us into left center field, scoring Willits on a ground rule double. It is now the bottom of the 4th, and we are still leading 3-2, but once again, Ethan Holiday delivers with a deep drive into left center, scoring Eli Willits. He has now scored 3 out of 4 of our runs, but we are not done. This is an RBI from Iva Arquette. I know it's only opening day, but that was the best that our offense has looked in really the entire video, as we scored 7 runs against the Phillies. I think our goal this season is to get our record to 500, and if Ethan Holiday and the rest of our offense plays this good, I don't think there's any chance we don't get there. We are simming the last 3 games against Philadelphia, winning 3 out of 4, and obviously there's a lot of ball left to play, but I'm hoping that's a sign of good things to come. Now we are locked into another tie game, this time against Minnesota, and that's a beautiful double play, and he's had a good start today, but he gives up a deep drive into right center to Michael Tolia. That stayed in the yard for a triple, and after a strikeout, Doyle can get out of it, and he does. Now it's time for the offense to go back to work. That is hit well into left field. Iva Arquette sending it back to the wall. It's gone. It's definitely been a rough start to the year for him, but he finally turns on one and gives us the lead before our catcher Bo Dean extends it. The rookies are trying to start 4-1, which is absolutely ridiculous considering how much they've struggled, and so far in this inning, they have scored 3 runs and make it 4. That is another convincing win over a pretty solid Minnesota team, and I can't believe this, but we're off to a 6-1 start. Continuing off a strong opening day, Ethan Holiday is on fire to start the year with an 1100 OPS, but doing even better is Gavin Fiend, who already has 12 RBIs. It seems this team is developing all at the same time, as Seth Hernandez and Cade Anderson are on fire to start the year, along with Liam Doyle. The rookies are in first place going into their first division series of the year, and with the Dodgers right behind us, we don't have a lot of breathing room. We are trailing by 1 run to the Giants, but our best player last year, Andrew Fisher, ties the game. That is a huge relief, but now we're trying to take the lead and win the game. As we fail to score runners in the 8th inning, Tyler Fitzgerald drives us into left center field, and thankfully it stays in the yard. That could have been very bad, but unfortunately, they lay down the sac bunt for pretty much the same result, taking the lead and now forcing a late rally from the rookies. Ethan Holiday is our last chance, and that should have been blasted, but instead he is facing a 2-1 count, smoking the single into the outfield. That will give us one more chance to score as Andrew Fisher makes great contact, but it's run down, giving the Giants the first win of the series. Those are the type of games we have to win in order to take the next step, as the start of April has really not been great for us, and we get swept by the Giants. In just a few games, we go from first place all the way down to last in a very competitive division, and now we need to rebound against one of these teams as we sweep the Pirates, and that's a pretty good start. It has been a rocky season to start the year, but if we can beat the Dodgers, that would set us right back on the right path. We just scored 2 runs, taking the lead in the 5th inning, and now loading the bases again, and there's still nobody out, as this will be a sacrifice fly. However, against the Dodgers, no lead is enough, so it's important we keep our feet on the gas, scoring another run. 2 sac flies definitely isn't the best outcome, but it's still gonna help out the scoreboard, and a 2-run bomb for the Dodgers, followed by a Holiday pop-up, make this more interesting. I'm crossing my fingers that we do not blow this, as Freddie Freeman is the final out, but he swings and misses. That will give the rookies their most important win of the entire season, as the entire offense got on board, scoring 7 runs off of Roki Sasaki. However, we can make it even better going for the sweep, as we do get it with a 5-3 victory. We are now 17-13, passing the Giants to get out of the cellar, and a month into the year, the first thing that I'll note is first baseman Andrew Fisher is putting up MVP level numbers. He had a good year last year, but I never expected an 1100 OPS to start out the season, as sure enough, he is the front runner for National League MVP. It has been a crazy year so far for Fisher, but aside from him, Holiday is still putting up good numbers, but is starting to slow down. It's definitely going to be a wait and see with Holiday and really the rest of these players, as it's still so early in the year, but the guy who I'm really hoping finds his stride is Eli Willits, who's still only 19 years old, and if this guy finds a breakthrough, he might be the one to push us over the top. One player who's been really steady for us for all 3 seasons has been Ike Irish, who's consistently hitting near the top of the lineup and putting up pretty good numbers again. Then in the rotation, there's been a bit of drop off from Cade Anderson and Seth Hernandez, although nothing alarming just yet, as both of them have only started 5 games and there's a lot of baseball left to play. The month of May could very well make or break our season, as we are simulating all of it and are just barely above 500. In this division, a 30-27 record puts us in last place, so if we want to make the playoffs, we need to perform well in this gauntlet of division teams, starting with the Dodgers. We came from behind, taking the lead in the 6th inning, but they would tie it up, and our offense is not confident going into extra innings. There are 2 outs with a man on second, but we immediately pop it up, and now we're just trying to avoid the walk-off. There are 2 away for Gage Wood, who does miss his spot, but fortunately this doesn't get down, so we're going to the 11th, where we score the go-ahead run on a sac fly. That will give us a 1-run lead as we're simulating the rest of the game, and there we go. We have defeated arguably our biggest rival in extra innings, and we would split that series before winning one against Arizona. We secure a 3-game sweep. That is exactly what we needed going into a series against the first place Padres, and while they're definitely a good team, we have been on fire, although we lose the first and the second game. Right after sweeping Arizona, they would go on to sweep us, so we're still not there, as we are under 500 entering the All-Star break. Honestly though, I'm not too disappointed, as the numbers say we're continually getting better, and considering we're 3 years in and don't have a single 80 overall player, I will take whatever we can get. We are still exceeding expectations, as we have so many players above 700 OPS, and aside from Seth Hernandez and Cade Anderson, we're really just waiting for the rest of the rotation to lock in. Unfortunately, we are 7 games back in our division now, so there's really no chance for us to make the playoffs as we sim the rest of August, and it gets even worse. It was another good year for Jace Laviolette Laviolette, who by the end of the season had established himself as our best player alongside Andrew Fisher. Along with those two guys, Ike Irish is also still getting it done, while Ethan Holiday and Eli Willits ended off the year on a good note. Then in the rotation, Seth Hernandez took over the role as our ace, and he is not looking back, posting an even better ERA than he had last year at 3.38. We might still need another season before we're ready to compete, but this is certainly a step in the right direction, as there are some really good players on this squad, and I'm looking forward to see them continue to grow. The best part of this rebuild is consistently seeing our lineup get better, but early on in the season, we are not seeing the same results as last year. At the start of May, we are in dead last at 14-21, and I just remembered that many of these players are hitting free agency in 2031, so we only have 3 more years to realistically complete this challenge. That being said, it is so important that we bounce back, but it seems like it's just not our year, as Andrew Fisher is having another great year, but the rest of the offense is underperforming, including Ethan Holiday. Hitting 180 after the season that he had is simply not acceptable and might cost us the entire challenge, as we continue simming to the All-Star break, picking up a few more wins in June. We sim to the All-Star break and we are 42-55. I have no idea why this team's not winning more games, but unless something changes in August, it's probably best to sim the rest of the season, as we are still 10 games under 500. We finished 72-90, which is 1 game worse than last year and certainly not ideal. However, looking at the roster, there's no reason we should be regressing, as Seth Hernandez is up to 88 overall with Cade Anderson right behind him. Hopefully, with the disappointment out of the way, Season 5 is when we can finally be competitive with a completely new look lineup featuring a ton of 80 overalls. It could also be argued that we have the best starting rotation in the league, as Seth Hernandez and Cade Anderson should only get better. It is opening day of season number 5, where Eli Willits is starting out with a home run. We have a lot to prove, so that is hopefully the start of great things to come, as this squad of rookies has come a long way ever since getting drafted as 60 overalls, and there's another dinger. Just a few seasons ago, we could barely make contact, but thanks to steady development, we are now going balls deep against Chase Burns, as there is a double. It is already 2-0, and the bases are loaded, so we have a chance to do even more damage as Bodine drives this deep into left center field. Can it be a grand slam? Not quite. However, we do clear the bases, as we are on fire on opening day, adding another RBI double. We have never had a winning season, but the Colorado rookies are putting MLB on notice, as this offense and Seth Hernandez have both been electric. After years of struggling, the rookies win 8-3 on opening day, and scoring 8 runs on 11 hits will certainly play. That was an exciting win, but there's still a lot more baseball to play, as we win our first series of the year 3-1, and we are neck and neck with San Diego at 6-1. Our goal this season is to win the division and make the playoffs for the first time ever, so every win matters, and right now we are neck and neck with the Atlanta Braves. This is a much different offense than we saw on opening day, as we are struggling to score runs and Ronald Acuna Jr. breaks the tie. That is terrible timing, as Atlanta also has Emmanuel Clase, who closes us out, and even though it's early in the season, it would have been great to win that matchup against a playoff caliber team. We officially dropped to 2nd place in the division, and I'm really hoping that doesn't affect our momentum and we can bounce back, simming the month of April. Fortunately, we are still in the mix for 1st place, and checking out the stats, once again, Andrew Fisher is killing it. He always starts out strong, but can never seem to stay consistent throughout the year, so this is a big deal. But alongside him, I'm also noticing a more consistent effort for the rest of our team. Younger players like Willits, Daniel Pierce, and Ethan Holiday are finally showing some consistency, which you'll love to see, but our rotation is definitely the reason we're above 500 right now, as our big 3 of Bremner, Anderson, and Hernandez are all playing pretty well. This is a very important series against San Diego, who won the division last year, and honestly, I'm not surprised. For whatever reason, the Tigers did not re-sign Tarek Skubal, and he signed with the Padres, giving them a legit ace, and Skubal versus Seth Hernandez has been a very fun matchup. However, the rookies are trailing by 2 runs, and nothing's going right, as we take a tough loss to our division leader. I'm definitely concerned, although we do win the next game 15-1, and to my surprise, after simming a couple weeks, we are all alone in 1st place. Our offense has gone from one of the worst units in the league to the 2nd best in just a year, and this is not a surprise with the year that Andrew Fisher is having, as he's on pace for the best of his entire career. One of the problems with this offense is we have not had a true superstar, but if Fisher is able to keep this up, I think he might be the guy. Going down the list though, the rest of our unit unit has been extremely consistent, with Willits and Holiday continuing to upgrade, along with guys like Irish and Laviolette who have been consistent through the entire video. We are surging as our rotation stays sharp, with Jamie Arnold and Liam Doyle starting to heat up to support the big three. Our rotation has been so good that we have 2 Cy Young finalists in Tyler Bremner and Cade Anderson, but also Andrew Fisher is in 3rd place for MVP. Simming to the All-Star break, we are sitting at 69 wins, and with a 14.5 game division lead and a roster that looks like this, I'm pretty sure we're gonna make the playoffs. Surprisingly though, the only 2 All-Stars on the team were Cade Anderson and Tyler Bremner, and that even includes Fisher, who didn't even make it at first base. No idea why our MVP caliber player got snubbed from the All-Star game, but due to our massive division lead, we are simulating all the way to the end of the season where we have over 100 wins. We finished the year with 110, which no doubt was the best record in all of baseball, as we were 13 games above the Dodgers, which is simply ridiculous. This was the season we've been waiting for and much more, as Andrew Fisher finished in 3rd place for MVP, while Cade Anderson was in 2nd for the Cy Young. Fisher definitely led the offense, but Ethan Holiday was not far behind, posting by far his best season yet. He is up to 92 overall, and I feel like he can do some real damage in the postseason. But the other player worth talking about is Chase Laviolette, who has been so consistent throughout the entire franchise, as we also had several other players exceed 800 and 700 OPS. Overall, just a very good offensive year, but as I've mentioned before, the success for this team really starts in the rotation, where Cade Anderson was the runner-up for the Cy Young, and Tyler Bremner was probably not far behind him. It's a little bit concerning that Seth Hernandez fell off as the season went on, but he's up to 94 overall, so really there's not too much to complain about. We have finally made the playoffs after 5 seasons, and we're taking on the Dodgers. If anyone's gonna knock us out of the playoffs, it's gonna be this team, so we may as well rip off the band-aid and see what happens. If we beat the Dodgers, we may as well put the World Series on our calendar, because on paper, this is the best team in the league, and we have a 1-run lead. Just like always, we are struggling to consistently get on base, but that was a meatball left over the plate, but now it's time to drive in another run. The bases are loaded for Ike Irish, who's been so reliable, and he smokes us up the middle to give us a 2-run lead. That allows us to close out the Dodgers, securing the first win of the series. So now with the advantage, I'm gonna simulate until we lose a game, which is not gonna happen. Awesome. That is a very easy series, as we're taking on the Brewers in the NLCS. I don't want to jinx anything, but this team is not anywhere near as talented as the Dodgers, and considering we just swept them, I think we're in a pretty good position. This is our final challenge before the World Series, but we strand 2 runners, so it's been a slow start to the game for both sides, but Gavin Fiend goes deep. We strike first with a 2-run dinger, and Seth Hernandez has been on fire on the mound. We're closing in on a shutout victory, as Hernandez did his job and we secure game number 1. That is a very good start to the series, as we also win game number 2 before losing game 3. That means we still have to win 2 games to advance to the World Series, and right now we are tied 0-0, but here's a home run. That is not great, but Fiend comes right back with one of his own, so we are locked into another close one as Ethan Holiday hits a missile that goes straight to the right fielder. That one looked very good coming off the bat, but now Andrew Fisher doubles instead, so we have a runner in scoring position. This is hit well to center field, but can't get down. That is so frustrating, as now we have to rely on our bullpen, which does not let us down this time, but extra innings are looking more and more likely as we're in the 9th inning. However, there are 2 guys on with 1 away, and that's good contact that will not get down, but advances runners to the corners. With 2 away, this is our last chance to drive them in, but we come up empty. Now we're in extras, where they're bringing in the big guns, and the scary thing about this is they are 1 swing away from walking it off, but we get out of it. For some reason, Milwaukee is putting up more of a fight than the Dodgers did, but right on cue, there is a go-ahead RBI double. That is what we were waiting for, as we win this game 2-1, so we are 1 victory away from the World Series, simming forward, and there it is. I think the last team I want to take on right now are the Mariners, and it always seems to happen, but fortunately we get a little bit more lucky. The coolest part about this series is that the Holiday brothers are facing off, and the rookies start out taking the lead with 2 home runs. Thanks to the fast start, they were able to lock down game 1, and now simulating game number 2, that is another victory. The Orioles are definitely a good team, but so far our young talent is overwhelming them, as we have already scored 4 runs in this game and make it 5-2. Our offense is off to the best possible start, hitting hitting another dinger, and there is no way that Baltimore is overcoming a 5-run deficit as we continue to pour it on. The score is now 8-2, and just for fun, Ethan Holiday clears the bases right in front of his brother. Baltimore scored a run in the first inning, and the rookies definitely took that personally, as we are 1 win away from completing the challenge, and this is going to drop into center field for a double. We are leading 1-0, but Eli Willits is gonna add another, and I'm liking our chances to win considering it's already the 5th inning. We would take a 5-run lead, but here comes Baltimore not giving up and scoring 5 runs in 1 inning. We were so close to shutting them out, but they found a surge out of nowhere to tie the game, as here's a single up the middle trying to score the runner, but they throw him out. This game continues to get weirder as Eli Willits is trying to make up for it, dropping this into the outfield. So now the bases are loaded for Ethan Holiday. That's a double play. Definitely not what I had in mind, but here is a home run, and with a runner on third base, Steele Hall sends us into left field for a sac fly. We should be in good shape as long as our bullpen does not blow this, and fortunately they don't, as Fiend calls game. This has been nothing short of a dominant World Series, as Jackson Holiday is the final out, and a full team of MLB draft picks has finally won the World Series. This was a very fun one-off challenge, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. As always, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and click right here to see more content.